At a local zoo, a huge bear named Rocco keeps bowing to a toddler, ignoring everyone else. What's the reason for this unusual behavior? The sad story behind it will shock you. The zoo erupted in terrified screams. Madeline realized it was her daughter Chloe who was screaming in fear. Chloe had been leading them to the bear enclosure but froze 50 feet away, right by the grizzly bear's area. She was shaking and crying. Madeline saw a giant grizzly bear standing in a threatening stance. The bear swiped its huge paws and roared, looking fierce and wild, not like the calm bears in books. It was only a few feet from Chloe. A zookeeper next to the enclosure looked scared and helpless. The grizzly roared again and stood up on its hind legs. Chloe, sensing the danger, ran towards the enclosure wall. Madeline shouted, but it was too late. Chloe crashed into the glass barrier just as the bear's gaze fixed on her. The crowd fell silent, watching the tense scene. The fierce bear and the small child, separated only by thick glass. The bear strode over and pushed against the protective glass with a loud thud. To the shock of nearby zoogoers and staff, Rocco suddenly raised his enormous front paws and bowed deeply before little Chloe, his shaggy head dipping with solemn reverence. A hush fell over the crowded bear viewing area as the powerfully built animal seemed to pay homage to the tiny toddler. Chloe smiled happily at Rocco, her new friend, while her parents watched with a mix of awe and worry. As Chloe ran along the glass of the enclosure, Rocco mimicked her movements with his large body. His sad eyes were locked on Chloe, ignoring the other kids who were trying to get his attention. For Rocco, Chloe was everything. When the bear bowed again, Chloe eagerly placed her hands on the glass where Rocco's paws had been. Despite his size and intense gaze, Chloe wasn't scared. Although she was too young to grasp how special this was, her family knew it was rare. Rocco only had eyes for Chloe, and she was so focused on him that she didn't notice she was blocking other kids from seeing. The zoo had always been a favorite family outing. Chloe had loved wildlife since she was very young, especially bears. Her parents remembered her first word was bear, said with excitement as she tried to see the zoo entrance from the car. As Chloe grew, her love for bears only deepened. She collected plush bear toys and threw tantrums if she saw bear-themed items she couldn't have. Her excitement made it hard for her parents to keep her from blocking other visitors. The bear area became crowded with Chloe and Rocco, focused solely on each other, making it difficult for Chloe to be mindful of others. Madeline and Aaron felt uncomfortable as other visitors cast judgmental looks. A burly zookeeper in a forest green uniform emblazoned with the zoo's logo watched the family closely, his stern presence and furrowed brow adding to the parents' rising discomfort. They were gripped with a growing fear that the situation might escalate into a confrontation. While some onlookers appeared to enjoy the unique spectacle, the parents couldn't shake off the disapproval and impatience directed at them and their oblivious daughter. As they prepared to leave, Madeline and Aaron wondered if they had unknowingly violated some zoo rule or disrupted the peaceful atmosphere one too many times. The zookeeper's watchful gaze only heightened their unease. Feeling they had overstayed their welcome, they decided to explore other exhibits for now. The staff member approached, but they walked away to see other animals, unaware he wanted to explain the bear's strange behavior. Each time he tried approaching, something came up. Aaron felt paranoid seeing the staff member following them all day around the zoo. It was weird, but Aaron didn't want to ruin the family's day by saying anything. Just as they considered picking Chloe up to go back home and avoid causing any further scenes, the imposing zookeeper approached through the crowds of onlookers. Madeline and Aaron instinctively moved to hold their daughter, bracing for a lecture. But the man extended a calming hand to pause them, a look of sincere wonderment spreading across his craggy face. "Please don't leave on my account," he said in a soft, baritone tone quite contradictory to his size. "What we have witnessed today is a little miracle taking place." The zookeeper introduced himself as Daniel, the head keeper who worked closely with the bears. His reassuring words relieved the family as he gestured toward Rocco and Chloe. "I've been trying to unlock the secret to Rocco's healing since the day he arrived," Daniel continued. "It seems your very special little girl may have just been the key." Sensing he had their full attention now, Daniel asked them to follow as he led them on a tour around the massive zoo grounds. As they strolled, he recounted Rocco's heartbreaking history. Daniel revealed that Rocco, the distressed bear, had been rescued from an illegal pet situation. The police had arrested a wealthy man involved in serious crimes like poaching and drug running. Among the items seized from his property was Rocco, who had been kept in terrible conditions. The man had taken Rocco as a cub and kept him in a tiny cage, which became too small as Rocco grew. Panicked, the owner started chaining Rocco outside and even declawed him to prevent injuries. This painful procedure severely affected Rocco's behavior and well-being. As Rocco aged, his owner and his associates became more fearful of his strength and started neglecting him, withholding food and interaction. It was a cruel existence, but one person showed Rocco kindness: the young daughter of the housekeeping staff. She made sure Rocco had fresh water and food, and sometimes tried to comfort him by gently pressing her head against him. After learning about the bear's sad past, Rocco's solemn bowing and focused interest in Chloe made sense to Daniel. The toddler's bright, innocent energy somehow reawakened the tenderness Rocco had felt from the kind housekeeper's daughter years ago when he was captive. It was as if Chloe's presence tapped into Rocco's buried memories of the only caring bond he had known. Though just a little girl, Chloe seemed to have the same nurturing spirit as the housekeeper's child, who used to comfort Rocco. The way Chloe danced and played joyfully mirrored how that older girl showed Rocco affection despite his harsh surroundings. Gently resting her head on him had given Rocco a glimmer of hope back then. Now, Chloe's pure spirit made Rocco feel that same feeling of care and protection. Before he was separated from the girl, authorities had finally raided the criminal's compound and confiscated the abused animals. They made efforts to allow the housekeeper's young daughter to visit Rocco at his new home, the zoo's accredited wildlife sanctuary. However, she lived in an impoverished area over 2 hours away, making regular trips prohibitively expensive and difficult. Reluctantly, the girl said her goodbyes to her gentle friend, whispering that she would find a way to see him again someday. Rocco watched solemnly as the girl who had shown him kindness in his darkest hours disappeared behind the prison gates, unsure if he would ever feel the warmth of her tender companionship again. Despite everyone's best attempts at rehabilitation through habitat enrichment and positive reinforcement training, nothing seemed to lift Rocco's melancholy until today, when he first locked eyes with Chloe. She unlocked the bear's deeply buried memories of feeling loved and protected. After Daniel's profound story about Rocco's struggling spirit, Chloe was granted unique, up-close animal encounters normally off-limits to the public. Madeline and Aaron were amazed that their daughter, Chloe, was never scared around the huge, powerful animals at the zoo. Chloe seemed to have a special gift for connecting with creatures big and small. The animals surprisingly responded to Chloe with gentleness, almost as if they could sense her kind and innocent nature. Despite their size and potential danger, the animals treated the little girl with care and affection. As the family strolled through the zoo, Daniel stayed close, keen on ensuring Chloe could absorb as many wondrous moments as possible. The wise zookeeper understood this day's profound imprint on the child. Daniel begged Madeline and Aaron to allow Chloe to become an important part of Rocco's life. "If you could come often, I truly believe Chloe can help guide Rocco back to happiness," he pleaded. "We've tried everything, but this is the first time we've seen a glimmer of hope. The zoo staff only wants what's best for him." The head zookeeper offered Chloe's family a premium zoo membership with early access, so Chloe and Rocco could have the bear area to themselves before the crowds. Safety barriers would always be in place, ensuring Chloe's protection. Madeline and Aaron agreed to this unique arrangement, seeing it as a special opportunity. Each morning, Chloe had private playdates with Rocco, and over time, Rocco's sadness lifted as he became happier and more social. Chloe's bond with Rocco continued to grow, and she also participated in other zoo activities, like bottle-feeding baby animals. Years later, Chloe returned to the zoo as a veterinarian, dedicated to caring for animals, including the special bear she once helped.